Hi, I'm Ann Forrest, and I'm a volunteer with the Emergency Communication Hubs here in Seattle, Washington. Hubs are natural gathering spots throughout the city of Seattle. After a large earthquake or some kind of major disaster, folks will come out of their house just naturally. We are social creatures, it's what we do, and they will gather together. And they will look for spots that are open to the air. No trees in the way, no power lines. So hubs are just natural gathering spots throughout the city. Most of them are parks. Pea patches are really good because they're open to the light. Some are located in parking lots of churches, natural gathering spots. What the emergency communication hubs do is find neighbors in those areas and encourage them to start a hub. A hub can be as simple as just a gathering spot, or you can get sophisticated and you can put equipment there to help you get organized. So the emergency communication hubs have two goals. The first one is to gather and share information with the community, because communication will probably be disrupted after a large disaster. So we gather and share information with our community so that folks know what's going on. We get that information from the city, from other hubs, and then just neighbors coming up and telling us what happened, what's going on in the neighborhood. There's a fire here, there's a power line down there. We gather that information, we post it in a way that the community can understand it, and then community members can come up and find out what's going on. So gather and share information is our first goal. Our second goal is to match needs and resources. The family that has diapers and the family that needs diapers, let's get these two folks communicating and together and sharing resources. Because after a large disaster, Facebook and Nextdoor and maybe even texting will not work. So we try and help the community help itself and share resources. So those are our two goals: gather and share information, match needs and resources. And I'll show you how that works within the hub framework. So this is our box in Victory Heights. We are in the Victory Heights Park, and this is up against the tennis court in our neighborhood. As you can tell, the box is very nondescript. It looks very, very ordinary and nothing special. We're hoping that people think that there are bats or shovels or rakes or something like that in it. Nothing of value. And truly, there is very little of value in here. So very nondescript. And then I will open this up and show you what's in here. Before we do that, I want to point out that we do not have food and water in here. We cannot store those kinds of supplies for our community. No one does. That is Seattle's plan, that the food and the water that you're going to need for the next 2 weeks needs to either be in your home or right around you somewhere. So work to get those supplies in your house, or work with neighbors in your apartment building and figure something out, how you can get 1 to 2 weeks of water stored in your apartment. So let's open up the box and see what's in there. I want to point out the quick start guide. Whenever someone comes up to the hub, and let me say for our hub, there are 7 sets of keys out in the community. So one of the community leaders, should be home and have a set of keys and be able to come open the box. So the first thing they would do is pull out the quick start guide. And this is step by step how to set it up with a blueprint of where we think things should go. This may work great, it may not work at all because we don't know the condition of the tennis court after a big earthquake. So we will go through the different areas of the hub, and I'll show you where they are in our particular hub. Obviously, every hub is different. But this says step by step what to do, where to put things, and then assign your team to work in the hub. So that's the quick start guide. So let's talk about what's in the box. There are a great many supplies, but we're still going to need a little bit more from the community. For example, we only have 1 canopy in the hub box. So if you are coming to the hub after a big disaster and you have a canopy, please bring it, because you know it'll be raining in Seattle. We have 2 tables, we have 4 chairs, we have large posters, we have information boards like whiteboards that we would just write on, we have maps, We have lots of administrative equipment, markers and pens and paper and forms. We have a megaphone. We have caution tape. We have quite a bit of safety equipment. For the volunteers that we send out into the community to check on people or check on places, we have safety equipment for them, meaning work gloves, hard hats. We have safety vests, orange fluorescent vests for everyone that works in the hub. Just anything we can think of that would make this whole process flow smoother. We've tried to think of it ahead of time and buy it and put it here in the hub. So we're going to walk through how a community member would interact with the hub if the hub is already set up and they're coming up to get information or to find resources or to give resources. So the first person they would probably talk to is the greeter. This is the person who's kind of the socialite in your community. They will set the tone of the hub. They try and be very calming because people are going to be understandably upset. So greet them warmly, set the expectations. No, we do not have food or water here at the hub, but we will help you find that if that's your need. So the greeter will have a job description. They will more than likely have a lanyard that says greeter on one side and a short job description on the other. One of the important tools we had designed specifically for the hubs is a communication card. It has pictures to help folks communicate with us if they do not speak our language or we do not speak theirs. So there's lots of pictures on one side. The other sign has a picture of a clock, and it allows them to tell us what language they do speak. There's letters. It's just a really good communication tool. All the hubs will have them, and it's to help us meet the needs of folks that come to our hubs that maybe don't speak our language. So lots of tools available to the greeter. So next we'll go to the information area because, like I said before, one of the goals of the hub is to gather and share information. So I'll show you where we do that. This is the information area of the hub. Remember, one of the goals is to gather and share information with our neighbors. So this is where we do it. We have a map where we can write this bridge is down. We can circle communities where there's a downed power line. This is just a whiteboard where information that comes in, we print it very neatly, very concisely up here so the neighbors can come in and find out what's going on. And then this is just a personal message board. So this is families or neighbors that want to communicate. You know, maybe they're far apart. They're several blocks apart. So they each come here, put messages on here for the other one. So the hub volunteer that works in this area is the information manager. They have a job description, they will have a lanyard, and their job is to keep this organized, to keep it up to date, to print on the board or on the circle things on the map, and keep it very, very simple and concise so the community can understand what's going on. So this is the resource area. This is where we match needs and resources together. So if you came up to the greeter and said, hey, I need diapers, or I have water I can offer, or I have a tarp that I could loan to a neighbor, or I need a tarp, some kind of resources, this is where you would come. And the first person you would talk to would be the message taker. This person needs to have really good handwriting because we're assuming that most of the folks coming up to the hub with some kind of need or a resource to offer are fairly shaken up. We're all going to be shaken up after a large disaster. So their ability to fill out a form legibly enough that anyone can read it is probably slim. So we need a message taker at the hub to take down the information and write it very clearly on the forms that we have. So you would talk to the greeter, you would come here, find the message taker. The message taker would either give you the information, the form, and have you fill it out, or fill out the form for you. And then you would talk to the resource manager. And the resource manager is the one that keeps all of this organized and up to date. So let's look at the boards around the tent. We're going to start in the back. We have water, food, supplies, and transportation. And each of these boards has a have and a need side. So if you have water to offer, we're going to ask you to fill out a form, and put down where the water is, and that will be at your house. We don't want people bringing donations to the hub and us having to store them or dole them out. We want neighbors to keep their resources at their house, and we will send the neighbor to you to pick that up. So water, I have it, I need it. We'll connect these two folks, and you guys make your connection out there in the community somewhere. Same thing with food. If we have restaurants who have no power and they need to cook off their food because it's spoiling, hopefully we will find that out. We will post that on Have Food, and then folks that need a meal can go to that restaurant and eat. Supplies are things like tarps or diapers or a cot or a tent or whatever somebody might need. Those are supplies. And then transportation, if roads are passable, and say maybe somebody is making a run to the pharmacy to pick up medications, maybe not everybody has to trek up there. Maybe if someone's going, they can offer to take pill bottles and cash for someone else and pick up other people's medications while they're running up there. So that's what those 4 boards are about. On the side here, we have services and we have medical. Services are things like, I need somebody to put a tarp over my chimney because I'm not comfortable getting up there and doing it. Does anyone have a gas-powered chainsaw? I need the tree taken off my car. Those are services. And then medical, if you have supplies that you can offer, or if you are a medical provider and can provide something, we would like to know about that. We have a board here for hope. This is just whatever the community comes up with. I'm offering free lemonade tomorrow, 7 p.m. Stop by. Live music in the park 2 days from now at 4 in the afternoon. Whatever. Things to bring the community a little bit of joy and hope. So that's what that board's for. We also anticipate quite a few pets missing or found. So we have a board for them. And then we also have a board for people. If you are having trouble communicating or finding your loved ones, we want to know about it, and we'll help with that as much as we can. So, and then we have 2 empty boards for whatever comes up, whatever else we find a need to coordinate. So that's what the resources tent is all about. It's the haves and the needs, and let's get these 2 people talking, again, out in the community. We are not a distribution center right here. So this is how the Victory Heights Hub organizes our resource area, but this is not the norm at all. There are many different systems out there. Most of them have little cubby holes, little pockets where they put the information, the forms, and they match them up that way. There's a lot of different ways to organize this. This is just one. This is not the only way. So find out how your hub organizes its resources area. This is the education area. The networked hubs have posters like this, maybe not quite this large, some are smaller, but as you can tell, we have taken the information we think will be very useful after a disaster and put it on a poster format so that folks can kind of stand here and help themselves. They can bring notes, bring pad and paper, write some notes, maybe take a picture with their phone if they're not worried about battery power on their phone. So we've done water, hazards, so this is how to take care of your utilities. How to handle hazardous materials if you have any. Food, when do you need to get rid of stuff in your freezer. Communication, this is how to get hold of your family and other members if communications are down. And then sanitation, the all-important how to control the human waste and keep ourselves safe and healthy. In the Victory Heights Hub, we would be hanging these signs on the fence, assuming the fence is stable and pretty much upright. So there's hooks on the backs of these. We would hang them up in this area, which we're calling the education area. The person that volunteers in the education area is the education officer, the educator. They have a book, just something similar to this. It starts with their job description, and then it has information in here that the community would like to know about how to stay safe after a disaster. There's information on how long you boil water, how you disinfect things, how you disinfect water for drinking. There's some medical information in here. There's psychological first aid. There's information on dealing with utilities, how to handle those after a disaster. There's some information on aftershocks and kind of what to expect. And then there's just a miscellaneous section on, there's siphoning, there's knot tying, there's camping hacks that are really useful, how to build a bicycle generator. So lots of good information that we have gathered, put into a book, and it's information that if we had Google after a disaster would be great, but we probably won't. So we're trying to locate that information from reputable sources, print it out, and make it available in the hubs. So the educator would have a really good resource, the education book, to help them work this area. The hub volunteer that works in the volunteer area is the volunteer coordinator. So again, they have a job description and they have several tools in here to help them do their job. One of the important tools is just a spreadsheet, a blank spreadsheet, a sign-up sheet that helps them keep track of volunteers that they have sent out to go do something. So you sign them out and then they get signed back in when they return, so that we know where our folks are, and if anybody doesn't return in time, then we send someone else out to go find them. The volunteer coordinator only sends folks out in 2s or 3s. No one ever goes solo, just because you don't know what you're going to find. And then the volunteer coordinator will have a lanyard with their title on the front and a brief job description on the back. Other tools that might be in here, there's information on a shelter. If a location was going to set up as a shelter, we have a handy list of things they need to think about before they actually open their doors. So we could send a couple volunteers to a space that might become a shelter and help them get going. There's psychological first aid in here. And then there's things to think about, places you could send them to check on things. In our community here in Victory Heights, we have a memory care center. We would really like to send a couple volunteers up there to see how they're doing. We have a gas station nearby. How are they doing? We have a grocery store that's not too far away. How is QFC doing? So you can send your volunteers, once you have enough, send your volunteers out to check on folks, to check on businesses to see how they're doing. So again, that's gathering information and sharing it with our community. So that's the volunteer coordinator's job. So this is where we anticipate the radio operators to set up shop, but that is really up to them. They need a very quiet space to do their job. The radio operator's only job is to listen on the radio and communicate that way. They cannot be talking to anyone else. You can't listen on the radio and do anything else, because you're probably transcribing as you're listening. So it is a very intense job. They need to be away from the rest of the hub. We do not want anyone walking up to them that is not authorized to do so. So this is a possible location for the radio folks in our hub. And part of the reason for that is that we have this really high fence, and we may be able to hoist an antenna up there. The taller you can get the antenna, the better reception that you get. They could be 2 blocks away. It's really up to the radio operator. So we do have job descriptions for the radio operator. And we even have in here a description of how to listen on the radio, on a ham radio, and take down information, but not broadcast, because you can't broadcast on ham radio waves unless you have a ham radio license. But if you don't have a license and have a radio, you can listen in, and we can get a lot of information that way. And then they have a radio assistant. Their job is to help communicate with the hub so that we never disturb the radio operator. They also keep the messages in priority order, and they keep track of a lot of things for the radio operator. So these are 2 jobs that we hope will be filled by volunteers from the community. I want to talk about 3 optional job descriptions within the hub. If you have enough volunteers to help, these are things that would be helpful for them to do. So the medical officer is first. Second would be a visiting nurse, which would be someone that would go out in the community and check on folks that need nursing or medical care and make sure they're getting what they're needing. You don't have to supply all of the care, but you need to organize neighbors to step in and help that person. So there's some of that organization. And then the last is the reunification officer. This is the person that would be the point of contact for helping locate missing people. If your spouse is stuck on the other side of the ship canal, maybe we can help you make contact. We don't know how that's all going to work, but it will be someone at the hub who you can turn to if this position is staffed to help you find your missing loved ones. So medical officer, visiting nurse, and reunification officer. And they all have job descriptions, just like every other position in the hub. The hub manager is an important position in this entire operation. The hub manager's job is to keep everyone working in the hub safe and to make sure that information is flowing and that the hub's operations are working. So it's really an overview. You're not going to get in the weeds. You're going to make sure that everybody has what they need and that information is flowing through the hub and that we are meeting the needs of our community and also that we are safe. So you're going to make sure that if we do it on the tennis court, that this is a safe place to be. There's no trees that are going to fall. There's no power lines that might come down. So safety is super important for the hub manager, and then just overall operations. And just like every other position, you have a job description. It'll tell you things to do, things to think about. We have a section on beyond the basics. If you've got the general job down, there's more things that you could think about to help your community. And then there's lots of resources in here. There's information on setting up shelters, what to do about power lines. In our book, we have more maps, lots of information. So you will have everything you need as a hub manager, and if not, you have really smart people working with you in this hub. So you don't have to know everything. You just need to keep everyone safe and make sure that the hub is working as well as it can. And the goal is not perfection, the goal is helping our community. So once again, the hub gathers and shares information and matches needs and resources. One of the byproducts of the hub operation is that when we open the box and we show people that there's no food and water in there, they finally figure it out, that their job is to put away food and water. The city does not have stores and stores of this food and water just ready to open up and hand out to the community. It really is up to each individual family to store as much food and water as they can, more so water than food. So one of the byproducts of the hub operations is that we educate the community about what it is they need to be doing to keep themselves safe. So thank you for watching this video about the emergency communication hubs in Seattle. I hope you understand how they're supposed to operate. I hope you get involved by finding the hub closest to you. If you do not have a hub within your community, please reach out and we will help you get established. This has all been done before. There's no reinventing the wheel, and we are here to help you. We are here to help you support your community. So please get involved, and thank you.